All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us at the Broadband Hui. This is the 273rd convening. I um, I feel like I'm going from working to working. So it's a interesting transition from, where I was yesterday and where I am today. But it feels pretty much the same, and I wanted to keep the train rolling here with the broadband Hui. So this is the like I said, 273rd, and we've got some you know interesting things to share with you all, and I'm glad that you all made it to join us today. So let me stop sharing here, and what we'll do is let's start off with a little bit of let's see, introduction for some new folks. Maybe what, Sarah, you want to say hi and where you're from?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I am currently a medical vista fellow with the Climate Commission. I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio, so I moved here for this position. And we're working on like a rebate tracker, so my boss thought this could be helpful to like include. So I'm excited to meet everyone.
Great. And Sarah, if you want to drop your contact info in the chat, I'm happy to add you to our mailing list and invite, Zoom invite.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
And for everybody else, if you can drop your name and contact or organization in the chat, that would be great. Lemomi, you want to say hi?
Sure, aloha mai. Leimomi Bong. I wear a few hats. I actually work with Bert at Hawaii Public Radio. I have a Tuesday evening music show, and then produce a short segment called The Catalyst on Bytemarks Cafe. I'm also over at the Office of Indigenous Knowledge and Innovation as an inaugural fellow working on emergent technology for Ina Stewart. So I'm here to listen and contribute where I can, and excited to meet everyone.
Great. Thanks, Lemomi. Let's see. Do I see any other I think they're all pretty much regulars. Oh, Catherine, you want to just say hi? I know you've been on before, but you want to just say hi to everybody.
Hey folks, sorry, I think my camera's not working. Let me try it one more time. If you can see me. Oh, anyway, I'm Catherine Van Henley. I'm with Digital Equity Learning Network. I'm actually based out of Seattle, King County area. And thank you, Bert, for the invitation. I'm hoping to kind of be a fly on the wall and learn from this group here.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. And Catherine was the one that actually kind of introduced us to the AI safety awareness folks. And that was a result of a webcast that she did. So thanks, Catherine, for that. I mean, and I think it was a really, it was a good week. Um, was it last month? A couple months ago. So it was a good experience, and I think there's still ongoing discussions with Andreas and AI Safety Awareness Project. Okay, what I want to do is do a quick manao of the day, and I wanted to share this kind of saying. It it kind of came up during a Rediscover Hawaii Soul event that took place, and I thought it was an appropriate saying given the fact that, we all kind of like to look at this sort of va'a as a vehicle, and I sort of look at the broadband hui as a va'a, and the saying goes something like "E kamau iho i- ikahoi apai ike kula," and this was Kamana'o Grab was the one that sort of said it, and I actually had to kind of Google it and find it on the web, and it kind of translates to, keep holding on to the paddle until reaching the shore, and it's reflective of how, we all are part of this journey, this sort of vessel, and being the fact that we've done 273, we're all pretty committed to, what it is that we're going for, and what we're going for is to help, close the digital divide, and I thought it was an appropriate saying during the session that we had at Rediscover Hawaii Soul. So I wanted to share that with you as my um, mana'o of the day. And with that, let's see, we'll go into the agenda. And, you know, as you all know, I'm transitioned out of the state and wanted to provide sort of a sense of what I would like to do and how I want to kind of keep the momentum going, with what we've done with the Broadband Hui and the work that we've done, in this space called digital equity. So this particular Broadband Hui will kind of provide a bit of an overview of that, and I'm I welcome questions. There's more than just me being involved with this, so there will be others that are talking about this journey that we're on. So first off, I wanted to share that one of the key nonprofits that are going to be kind of part of the going forward with the Broadband Hui is the Internet Society. And I provided a couple of links in the agenda, and uh, maybe what I'll do is drop the agenda in the chat here. And what I wanted to kind of point out is that anybody can join the Internet Society, and it's a free, you know, um, nonprofit to actually join. So there's no real barrier. Um, but let me just add that there is a barrier because well, here's the agenda. There is a barrier because there's a multi-step process. And I don't know if anybody has tried to join the Internet Society and the Hawaii chapter, which is part of the Internet Society. It's a multi-step process. And the first step in the process is actually joining the Internet Society. Okay, so pretty straightforward, just join the Internet Society. The second step is to find the Hawaii chapter. And that's not intuitively obvious. And I don't know, maybe Jill can explain what her experience was like. So what I did was I provided a link, and even with the link, you will find that it's not obvious because what they did is they listed all the chapters across the entire globe. So you got to have to find the Hawaii chapter. And then when you do find the Hawaii chapter, you have to apply. Now, there's no real application per se. You got to put your name and affiliation and contact info. And what that does is that once you apply, you will um, get put on a list that I will see that I will then accept into the Hawaii chapter. So a few of you have done this, and you're more than welcome to share your experience, but in many cases, I ended up having to kind of coach people how to actually go through that process. So I wanted to encourage you to take a look at that, and uh, I welcome you to the Internet Society and the Hawaii chapter, and part of the um, thing that I wanted to share with you all is that there are some projects that we're going to be doing in the very near future that are part of the Internet Society, and they are very interested in helping to support these particular activities. And um, that kind of gets me to the next bullet on the agenda, which is something that is happening during Hawaii Tech Week. And I think many of you are familiar with the last couple of years where it was called the Honolulu Tech Week. They've expanded their kind of reach to include all of Hawaii, and they've sort of, encompassed a much more extensive calendar. It's still pretty much the week of August 31st to September 4th, but I think there's some days on the end of that, like the Sunday and the Saturday. But those are the main days, and it's Hawaii Tech Week. The link is on the agenda. And what we are doing is helping to contribute to this in the form of a couple of trainings. And one of the trainings is the portable network kit, which is a train the trainer. And this train the trainer program is really to help trainers with helping to build community broadband networks. So it's really limited to 15 people. And I think there's a couple of folks here on the call that are have expressed interest. So Linda Clark out in Kaupo, yeah, I think that's a good example of where this could be beneficial. And Chrissy over in Waianae, um, this is another opportunity to build some capacity. So Chrissy, I'm going to be calling you to get get a name or a couple of names for our PNK training, and then Nick Winfrey from Imo Onipa'a. Nick, I think you guys are helping to support some of these, potential implementations, on Maui. The thing with the portable network kit, and I've provided uh, basically a PDF of what it is that we're going to be doing. This is going to take place over at Pu'uhonua or Waimanalo, and we're doing it. Um, it's a 4-day class. Okay, so it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it is kind of a commitment of time. Again, it's a trainer. The expectation is once the training is done and the folks are designated trainers, they can then provide that training to their respective communities. And the exciting part is that the folks that are coming over to do this are part of a group in New York, Community Tech New York, CTNY. So they're actually coming in, and they're primarily funded through Internet Society. So they'll be coming in and they'll be training on the portable network kit, which is like a Wi-Fi in a box. Um, and it comes with their, a Pelican case and all that. Now, there's only going to be a couple of these training kits, so there's going to be like a price list and how you might go and purchase your own um, portable network kit, and it's pretty much all off the shelf stuff, so it's pretty straightforward. So that is coming up, and my um, suggestion is that we kind of nurture and foster the trainers that are getting trained, and then we help to um, kind of continue the work for them in support of training into the communities. So that's something that I think will be kind of a cool thing, and it's part of the whole you know philosophy of thinking global and acting local. These are all kind of local activities that I think are really important to get the communities not only trained but to spread uh, spread the skill and to build capacity. And then on the Friday, there's something called the Hawaii School on Internet Governance, and that's a one day event. That's part this whole week. We've sort of built. The first part is a hands-on, and then the one day afterwards is a more of a symposium, and we've invited some folks from some organizations like the Internet Governance Forum, Internet Society, as well as the Internet Corporation on Assigned Names and Numbers, ICANN. So they'll be participating. Some will be there in person, some will be virtual. But it's a great opportunity to, hear what's happening beyond Hawaii. And I did get a chance to uh, kind of trade emails with Vint Cerf, and Vint is going to do our kickoff in the morning as do a short, well, actually not short. I mean, it's probably about 45-minute um, keynote address. So I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, that's happening. Uh, the HiSIG symposium. Now, if you go to the website and you are, if you click on register, it'll take you to a Luma page, and then you can register for it. The official registration by Hawaii Tech Week is not coming out till, I think, a couple days from now, and they'll start to do their whole promotion. But part of the, part of the process of making sure that we were consistent with Hawaii Tech Week was we, set up our Luma page, and we set up our HiSIG page. So I would highly encourage all of you to sign up and join us on that Friday, September 4th. Okay. The next one on the list is a training that you are, you have an opportunity to check out. And this is from the Internet Society, and it's on internet governance. Now, it's timely because this is taking place, starts actually July 20th. And so if you are able to do that, I would sign up. It's like a 4-week class. I think there's a bunch of modules. You can pretty much take it, at your schedule. But it is kind of a defined period in July. And what that helps to prepare you for, just as a background, to attend the symposium, so you have a good idea as to what internet governance is. And again, this is kind of consistent with the idea of thinking global, acting local, and how it sort of rolls into, we'll continue to do local projects, but we want to also help to extend the voice of Hawaii into some of these organizations, whether it be the Internet Governance Forum or ICANN, which is, Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. So these are things that are going to be happening over the course of, this second half, in addition to some other things as we'll add, along the way. So I wanted to kind of share that with you all, and, be sure to check out those links and please register. Okay, now I wanted to recruit some of my my partners here, and Ian and Nick and Lemomi to kind of chime in. I wanted to kind of frame up something called the Digital Futures Initiative, and this is something that I think the Broadband Hui has a really important role to play. And you might ask yourself, what is this Digital Futures Initiative? And I'll leave it to people like Ian to explain what that is. But um, the way it started was that when I was with the broadband office, we did a study. It was the digital economy study, and in the digital economy study, there was a recommendation to do something called a digital congress. And the idea behind a digital congress was to see if we could broaden the circle and get more leadership involved. And it could have involved legislators. It could be government leaders. It could be private sector. It could be nonprofits. So, so that was a, a kind of a real exciting initiative that could take take hold, build momentum, and actually conduct something called the Digital Congress. But it didn't really happen to the extent where there was a commitment by any of the leadership. So, I sort of took it inside and figured out, well, what's the next best way to try to uh, have a dialogue around a digital future, and of course, my my circle of, you guys all know the circle of brain trusts. I try to pull people from the Broadband Hui, and so Ian was part of that. And Ian, you wanna share a little bit about what kind of resulted from that initial start?
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Bert. Aloha, everybody. And then, yeah, I'll let Nick also help me um, navigate this a bit. And then also, Leimomi was recently with us. So back in December of last year, Bert asked, a few of us, hey, can you get together? Can we get together? And it's all was online. Nick's on Maui, and so and everybody's super busy. So it was like, can we talk about this idea of the digital future, right? And so I was like, okay, what's that? And so, and and so we just started this dialogue about what is the digital future, and again, all of it comes, I think, the genesis of this comes from this idea of broadband access, right? That providing access to everyone, and to bridge that the digital divide, which I think we all kind of came to that could become a bigger divide if we're not careful and mindful. So we got together and we had several sessions online, and we're still, I think, defining what that is. And I think that's where, but we have some initial thoughts about it. But I think all of you can add, I think, other dimensions and perspectives to this. What is the digital future? And I think some of it that came out of it was this wasn't about technology, right? It was really about people and how do we help our people thrive in a world that's becoming incredibly disruptive and chaotic. And there's many reasons for that, as we all know. Um, and and so kind of coming up with kind of a game plan. But again, I think that game plan is really I guess the result of whoever wants to be a part of that and participate in it. And I think essentially what I see out of that work was how do we take the great work that has been done with the Broadband Hui and kind of take digital access to the people in the form of how do you build people's kind of digital confidence, right? How do you get people beyond being super afraid of AI to actually being AI proficient? But also, how do we connect things together to basically almost create really like a learning kind of coalition and network across the state, and providing ways for people to like also have that access, but also literacy around AI, but also ultimately about how do we impact their livelihoods and people's lives. So if you want to live wherever you're living throughout the state, that you're literate, you're AI literate, you have confidence in the digital economy, and you're a major participant, and you can make a life for yourself wherever you are on the islands, and you can stay here. So there's that broader kind of contextual stuff, and then more recently, and Nick, you want to kind of jump in and kick in if anything I add to what I said.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Pleasure. And just, I love how we get to think about these things. So I just appreciate the time to be able to be part of that group and excited for what's on the horizon. I think for me, it's a lens of, okay, if everyone has access, that's one of the big goals that our state has had. What is the next phase, right? And how do we upskill and really create that thriving thread for generations to come? And that digital economic piece is a way that I envision that could potentially take place. Everyone talks about diversifying the economy and getting away from tourism. I see this as an opportunity to grow and not really have to worry about that diversification piece. and really look at how the uniquities that we have as the people of the Pacific can be an opportunity for our state, and for people that might be remote on Molokai and Kaupo, and other areas within the state. So I'm really excited just to see how this grows, and the opportunity that we have to leverage with the Hawaii broadband, kind of Hui has done, and what those next phases are, as Ian said, to create a thriving, community here for everyone. And I am excited for those next steps and how we can take part. And from my perspective, from that social side lens, right? And how equity looks across the board, not just with digital access, but with what digital technology can bring across the social sector side when we look at housing and affordability and all sorts of things. So I know that's very broad, but I just want to kind of exude my enthusiasm about where this can go on the horizon. Thanks.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Nick.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I just wanted to
Yep.
say that, Imua Onipa'a is very much involved with, the equity side of the equation as well as the digital economy side of the equation. So I think that embraces a lot of what, the Broadband Hui is involved in. But I wanted to maybe give Lemomi a chance to talk a little bit about her kind of introduction to this process and a little bit of the time we spend in the phase of coming together, kind of the five of us, which included Lemomi and Nicole Kakao from True Initiative, Ian, uh, Pakele, and myself over at Rediscover Hawaii Soul.
Yeah, Bert kind of just threw us in the fire a little bit, but it was good fun. I think from my perspective in academia, there are a lot of folks thinking about like speculative digital futures, and sort of working on the nuts and bolts of what that means. But what I saw at Rediscovering Hawaii Soul was the Broadband Hui is really a place to like articulate, but also kind of act on the ground in terms of what real digital equity can look like. And to Ian's point, we're not just up against narrative, we're not just up against kind of like dominant narratives. And the idea that like all people need is access. I think it's mindset shifts. I think it's support from a lot of different industries. And the sort of like global frameworks being, rearranged and sort of made to fit or even bespoke for Hawaii. So yeah, it feels like that's what the Broadband Hui is really going to be, almost like a working group is what I saw over the course of 2 days. And during those 2 days, we got to work on a website with Pekele over at Puhonua or Waianae, and started to kind of think about how to get messaging out to a wider demographic, and to kind of think about creating these distributed pods. So there's a lot of folks kind of working in their respective communities and then linking back up as a hui. So yeah, I see, I'm excited to maybe turn this into a bit of a social hacker space that works within the frameworks that you all have like really made over, the 300 meetings plus you guys have had. So yeah, we got a oni to make things So I'm excited that yeah, there's there seems to be some freshness to the Internet Society, ISOC, ICANN kind of coming into what you folks are working on.
Yeah, no, thanks, Lemomi.
Mhm.
And it was great to have Lemomi on because you got you got crusty old guys like me and Ian. It's good to have the young folks.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Young folks to you know have like the future. I mean, part of the Digital Futures Initiative recognizes the fact that you got to have young people involved, and we can help maybe set the course, but some of the young folks are going to have to kind of carry the water, and maybe even carry some of us old folks along as we go down this timeline. So it's great
Yeah.
to have folks like Lemomi and Nicole and others that I think will be very much have a role in playing to design and craft, what Hawaii Digital Futures looks like. So thanks,
So Bert,
Lemomi, for
yeah,
for
just really quick,
being a victim of my, kind of art of war maneuver.
just really to emphasize what Bert's saying about young people. I think out of the few gatherings that we had, everybody, I think one of the things that we emphasize a lot is that the students are not just passive beneficiaries of this; they're actually the ones going to lead this. So a lot of it was like, how do we incorporate young people, even younger than Lemomi and Nicole? Like really, we're talking about, high school students, middle school students, public school students, private school students. Like, how do we incorporate them into this and have them really drive a lot of this? So they're not just, beneficiaries. Really, they're really the drivers of this. And I think we have some interesting ideas about this, but I think Bert, we gotta maybe I can compile some of this stuff and then maybe put something together that you can share with the Hui, so that they can kind of see how they can contribute and benefit from this. I also told Bert, I think what we can try to do too is based on who wants to do what kind of ideas come out of this. And there's some areas that you can think of, like AI literacy training and community pilots or whatever people have as ideas and workforce development. Then we can try, like at Picture, we can try and help to actually write proposals to go after funding to ultimately, provide some resources to these initiatives. So, so anyway, back over to you, Bert.
No, that's a great idea. And I want to add to that a little bit of color. And I remember Pakele making a comment at Rediscover Hawaii Soul that they went and they consulted with Kupuna about what the four scenarios might be, and his comment was, how come they never, didn't consult the kids, the young adults, um, and I thought about it, and when I realized that, well, and my comment to him was, a lot of them, especially like maybe coming out of high school, may not have a world view of things, or they may not have the experience in certain let's say technologies, and may not have the right, or maybe have a perspective that might not be as inclusive of the wide range of opportunities. And one example was that when I was on was Lanai, and I was talking to one of the sort of the job counselors there, and was talking about what do high schoolers think about what kind of jobs they would actually want or get. And she was saying, yeah, typically the folks graduating out of Lanai High are thinking that they want to be a bellhop. And I was like surprised. And she said, well, that's really what they see. That's what they see. They see opportunities at the hotel. So why wouldn't they say being a bellhop? And part of the um, realization was that they need more exposure to the other types of experiences and opportunities. And I think, Ian, what you're describing is that, if there's an opportunity to kind of put um, young students with kupuna and have them talk about um, stories or indigenous knowledge or whatever, maybe even like what Tech Savvy Teens is doing, to help kupuna with uh, how to troubleshoot. That starts to introduce them to this sort of digital skills world. And then they have a broader kind of view of the opportunity. And then it really kind of opens up more um, diversity of responses when asked, what do you see as being Hawaii's digital future. So anyway, that's an example, and the result of that conversation kind of turned to, well, for Lanai as an example, they got to get more exposure to how people can work in the digital economy. And again, I'm looking at Nick because Nick, as you start to explore how Imua Onipa'a might go into Lanai or Molokai, I mean, it's probably good to help bring along some technical or not necessarily technical, but people that are seasoned to share what it is that the opportunity might look like, so that students might sort of broaden their vision. Anyway, that's my anecdotal story about getting how to best get young people involved. Um, in that set of bullets on the Digital Futures Initiative, there's a bullet on let machines machine. And I wanted to give you a little bit of context of where that came from. So when Ian convened, a bunch of us to kind of brainstorm, ask questions, um, do kind of a design thinking methodology. And what Pakele did was he took a lot of the raw the raw information and ran it through, I think he says Claude, and what Claude did was summarize it and suggest some key storylines that could come out of that. And I think Ian, what was only like couple three meetings, yeah.
Yeah, it was trying to look. Yeah, it was 3, 4. Wait a second. It's actually 4 gatherings, and then if I count, the revitalizing Hawaii, that's basically 5.
Yeah, and what happened was, which was pretty fascinating, there were a bunch of suggested kind of topics, and one of them that I posted on the agenda, and this is Pakele's kind of title was, let the machines machine and let the humans human. And that kind of differentiated what, what do the AI tools do and what do humans do, and focus in on what humans do best and let the machines do the machining. And so that was a digital asset that came as a result of the convening, and it basically took it and created an audio. Actually, it was like a short little video, and I thought it was kind of good. And this was just one example of maybe about, I don't know, 4 or 5 of the output. So these were digital assets that came as a result of our discussion. And I think, going forward, we have an opportunity to continue to convene, thanks to Ian, and actually maybe get more of these insights that we can share with everybody. And what is exciting is that as we share this with people, the momentum starts to build and the circle starts to widen. And I am thankful for, what we initially did, and we took that and I submitted it as a kind of like a team proposal to rediscover Hawaii Soul. And they actually put us on center stage, Yale Momi, to talk about the Broadband Hui and the Digital Futures Initiative. And it was it was kind of like a group kind of speed dating with a bunch of other groups that were in the audience. And the audience consisted of some of the major banks, Hawaii Community Foundation, uh, the DOE, and a bunch of nonprofits. And they all got to hear what it is that we were trying to do. And heck, I mean, if there's an opportunity to connect with them on a going forward basis, to continue to, kind of embrace their input into the Digital Futures Initiative or the Broadband Hui or any of the, you know, um, acting local part of what we're trying to do, I think it's going to contribute to overall how we end up making an impact. Now, how that impact ultimately unfolds is yet to be seen. But that's why going back to the idea of paddling the VA, we just keep paddling, and it's all about kind of perseverance. So that's kind of the stuff I wanted to share with you all, and I'm happy to open it up for any questions that you might have. We've got a few minutes left. I do want to give Sarah a chance to give us an update on what's happening with the bead um, uh, positions that are now official. But before we go there, any questions about sort of this data stated direction that we'd like to take the Hui? Sean?
I don't want to take more time, Bert, but I think it's very exciting. I want to appreciate Chung and Amber and the state folk, broadband office for staying involved and for sort of passing the baton. I think the potential of the Internet Society collaboration and this digital futures conversation that you and others have been sort of bringing up creates a great opportunity to sort of relaunch the Hui as with a new, because there's not federal dollars for us to chase now. Um, so we
Yeah.
kind of have a new focus, and I really appreciate your leadership and the group and everybody being here. And I'm happy to stay involved, and I'll be throwing in my notes along the way. I sent a couple of emails, but I won't take up call time for those.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Sean. And I do want to recognize Maitri, who's also been involved with our formation. So Maitri, thanks for joining us on the Broadband Hui. Okay, so with that, Sarah, you wanna share what's going on with the positions?
Sure. Let me share my screen real quick.
Oh yeah, let me make sure I enable that. Okay.
Okay. Here it is. Okay. I know that you guys would probably appreciate an update on the entire program, but we're actually still in the process of finalizing our contract with Hawaiian Tel and with Amazon Leo, who were the two preliminary awardees. So I don't have any information on that, but I do finally have these job openings to confirm that have been posted. It just took a little while to get it official. But these are for technical project managers who will be really helping with the day-to-day boots on the ground and probably working, hand in hand with both the UH broadband team, but also with the contractor, just to make sure everything's running smoothly. And it's a serious PM position, as you can see from the qualifications required. The job posting is open until, I believe, the 13th of July. So we really hope folks will apply and help us get our actual building stuff on the ground. Get going.
So Sarah, what are the kind of key job experiences that you guys are looking for in these particular positions?
I mean, it's somebody who can basically speak, broadband infrastructure speak, like with, the technical persons of both our team and Hawaiian Tel. So
So then you're gonna have two of them, right? So is the idea that one will focus on the Hawaiian Tel contract and the other one will focus on the HIFO?
no, I think when the work really ramps up, we're gonna have stuff moving on different islands at different times. And as part of our, BEAD reporting and, quality assurance, there will be times, for example, that, we'll need to have site visits and such, to confirm service available and things like that. And that work will be on different islands at different times. So that's one of the reasons that we need more than one. We have 4 different project areas, right, based on the 4 counties. And so to put all of that on one person, be a bit much.
Oh, I
For
see. I see.
Amazon Leo, it'll be that one is, the customer is going to request it, and then the kit is sent to them, and the kit is, for the most part, I believe they have to set their own kit up, but we're still working that out.
Okay, no, sounds good. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any questions? Any questions for Sarah?
So is this a younger version of Bert?
What? No,
I don't know. Does Bert truly speak like technical speak, with an engineer
yeah.
of clientele? I'm not so sure about that.
yeah, maybe not.
Well, the younger version of you was probably.
Yeah, used to.
Yeah. It may be in my own mind.
Aloha, Sarah. I just have a couple of quick questions. I put them in the chat. But first of all, thanks for sharing this and congratulations on moving forward. I'm just curious about the sort of overview, is the Lieutenant Governor's office going to continue to, play whatever role they've been playing? Will UH continue to be the lead, and what's Garrett up to nowadays? Thanks.
Small, tiny question. I think what I can say is that UH will continue to be involved for sure. The role of LG governor's office, how that'll happen is still in the works. And when we do have an update, we'll be happy to share with you. And Garrett has retired, but this is the one project he has retained involvement in, just to make sure it goes all the way to the end.
Great, thanks. Appreciate it.
I have a question. Is Amazon Leo really working these days?
There are people there who are answering our emails, if that helps.
Well, but does it, if you have A, can you get to terminal? And B, if you establish it, do you get any kind of connectivity?
I haven't ordered one, so I'm not exactly sure, but I believe that, yeah, I mean, they're still working on setting up their system. They're not as ready to go as Starlink, which is why you see, Starlink ads and Starlink, those Mother's Day introductory offers and things. The thing that we do need to caution people with all those, introductory offers of just $50 for the first 3 months, and then it bumps up to, 200 or whatever it is. That's one of those, buyer beware. If it sounds too good to be true, just double check it.
So how much is Amazon Leo?
I don't know what they advertise
Monthly
for.
fee.
I don't know right now.
It just seems that the contracts were made or issued in January, and here we are, July. There's something that doesn't meet the eye here.
You'll know when you know, Dan. I mean, it's $150 million contract. I don't think you want us to mess with it, very quickly and not do a thorough job.
Well, thanks, Sarah. Any other questions? You got the tough ones asking the questions. Oh, Tan.
I was just curious. So you talked about it. It's a 150 million contract. Is this just to bring service to rural areas of Hawaii with a special deal with the Amazon Leos, or is this something else? I'm sorry, I'm a little late to the game there.
Oh, no, this is not just for the Amazon Leo. Basically, it's a program to ensure that that there is access to this technology in previously uncovered areas, or areas that both, the federal government and the state and the community have identified as either unserved or underserved. And those locations have to be able to access broadband by the end of this program. So the dollars that I mentioned will be paying for both the installation of and running of fiber optic to these locations, minimum, fiber type speeds. And the second one would be that for places where it is absolutely cost prohibitive to send fiber line, that's where we will be allowing Leo to be used there.
Thank you.
Okay, well, appreciate the update, Sarah. You're always welcome to come on and provide us any updates. I'm hoping that maybe one day we can get DHHL to join us and provide us some updates. Uh, Chung, you guys wanna any updates from the broadband office?
Hey, Bert, no updates.
Okay, well, I'll keep track as we move down the timeline, maybe later on in the summer. Okay, so with that, any other questions about things that are kind of in play and as we move forward? Yes, Sean.
I just want to share last minute news that I got. I sent an email to the group, but folks on the call might be interested to know that the DCCA has posted a public hearing schedule for the renewal of the franchise for Hawaiian Telcom on Oahu. So Hawaiian Telcom and Charter both have franchises with the state to operate cable TV services. And the Hawaiian Telcom service, which has been under a state franchise, is up for renewal. So Hawaiian Telcom made an application to the state. The state has accepted the application as complete, which starts a shot clock, a timeline where they have to act or it automatically is approved. And so DCCA set a hearing date for July 22nd. It's on Oahu. In person, it's for Oahu, specifically the cable franchise services on Oahu. So I just thought I'd mention that, and we might, if you have time on the next call, I don't know if it's before that, but we might want to take a minute then.
And who would be appropriate to speak to that?
Well, this is a part of the cable franchise is consumer protection. The state regulation of charter is basic. Anything that relates to charter services to customers would be the subject of the hearing. The state is going to evaluate whether charter has met their obligations and whether they're, Hawaiian Telcom. Sorry, I said charter, I meant Hawaiian Telcom. Whether Hawaiian Telcom has provided services, what their customer service performance has been, whether people are happy with the affordability, with the reliability, with the openness, the network performance. All of those will be subject matter for the hearing that DCCA is having.
And is then the hearing, I take it, is public. And where's it? You know where it's going to take place?
I think it's a DCCA hearing room in Honolulu.
Oh, okay, okay.
I couldn't. I actually I think I found a link. I don't know if but I had a yeah. It was published in the newspaper, but you can't find it on their website. So strangely, I found the attachment and I shared it in email. But
Okay.
I'll try to find a link for it and put it in the chat if I get a minute.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions or topics to discuss before we conclude?
Well, there's the CPF money projects, right? The inter-island fiber and MDUs would be useful to know about those too.
Yeah, and I think that's included in the UH's, I guess, hiring of those positions to oversee some of the CPF cable landings and inter-island fiber as well. And of course, we could see if we can get some of the folks from the actual project to come on and give us an update.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everybody for joining us. Let me quickly put up the closing slide here. Okay, so thanks for joining us on the 273rd Broadband Hui call. We do archive this, put it up on YouTube, as well as have the community access television folks rebroadcast. So I really appreciate their support in helping to get the word out. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining us on this Broadband Hui on July 1st, kind of the new and improved and direction for the Broadband Hui, and appreciate everybody's continued support. Our next call is going to be on July 15th, and welcome any input along the way as far as the agenda, but we'll start to get a little bit more into some of the things that are happening at the local level, as well as some of the stuff that's happening at the sort of national and international level that I think we Hawaii can contribute to. So until then, I hope you all stay safe and stay awesome. Aloha, everybody.
Hui hao.
Thanks, Bert. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Bert.